Imagine a world where two men, driven by unimaginable darkness, left entire communities gripped by fear. Andrei Chikatilo, the Rostov Ripper, and Alexander Pichushkin, the Chessboard Killer, carved their names into Russia's history with blood. One killed to satisfy twisted desires. The other saw murder as a game of power. What shaped these monsters, and what can their stories teach us? Welcome to Red Dossier, where we unravel the chilling truths behind the world's most notorious criminals.
Before we move on to the next part, please give me a like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for listening.
Comparative analysis of Andrei Chikatilo and Alexander Pichushkin Part 1. Introduction to the two killers. In the grim tapestry of criminal history, few threads are as dark as those woven by Andrei Chikatilo and Alexander Pichushkin. Known as the Rostov Ripper and the Chessboard Killer, these men cast long shadows over Soviet and post-Soviet Russia, their names synonymous with terror. Their crimes, though separated by time and context, share a chilling brutality that forces us to confront the depths of human depravity. Yet their stories are not just about horror. They reveal the societal cracks that allowed such monsters to thrive and challenge us to reflect on how we prevent such tragedies. Andrei Romanovich Chikatilo, born on October 16, 1936, in Yabloknoye, Ukraine, was a Soviet serial killer who murdered at least 52 people between 1978 and 1990. His victims, primarily children and young women, were lured to secluded areas near rail stations in the Rostov region with promises of food, money, or work. His methods were gruesome. He stabbed his victims repeatedly, often mutilating their bodies and engaging in cannibalistic acts. The sheer savagery of his crimes baffled investigators who were hindered by the Soviet Union's refusal to acknowledge serial killers, a concept deemed incompatible with communist ideology. Andrei Chikatilo, Britannica. Dr. Alexander Buchanovsky, a pioneering psychiatrist, diagnosed Chikatilo with schizoid personality disorder and sexual sadism, noting that his killings were driven by a need to overcome deep-seated sexual inadequacy. Chikatilo himself confessed that murder was his only path to sexual release, a twisted escape from his inner torment. Psychological profile: Andrei Chikatilo, Alexander Yuryevich Pichushkin, born on April 9, 1974, in Mytishchi, Moscow Oblast, emerged as a chilling figure in post-Soviet Russia. Between 1992 and 2006, he killed at least 49 people, though he claimed 63, targeting the homeless, alcoholics, and elderly in Moscow's Bitsa Park. Pichushkin would befriend his victims, sharing drinks before bludgeoning them with a hammer and inserting a vodka bottle into their skull wounds, a grotesque signature. His stated goal was to kill 64 people, one for each square on a chessboard, though he later admitted he would have continued indefinitely if not caught. Alexander Pichushkin, Wikipedia. Psychologists identified traits of antisocial personality disorder with a profound lack of empathy and a thirst for power. Pichushkin described killing as feeling like God, a way to assert control and gain recognition, even keeping newspaper clippings of Chikatilo's crimes as inspiration. Alexander Pichushkin, NY Daily News. While both men were prolific killers, their motives and contexts set them apart. Chikatilo, a product of the repressive Soviet era, hid his monstrous nature behind a facade of normalcy. Pichushkin, operating in the chaotic post-Soviet years, was brazen, seeking fame through his crimes. Their stories, though rooted in violence, reflect broader societal failures. Denial in Chikatilo's time, neglect in Pichushkin's. As we move forward, we'll explore the roots of their darkness, the methods they employed, and the forces that drove them to such extremes, inviting us to ponder what their lives reveal about the human condition. Comparative analysis of Andrei Chikatilo and Alexander Pichushkin, Part 2. To grasp the full scope of Andrei Chikatilo and Alexander Pichushkin's horrific legacies, we must explore the roots of their darkness, their troubled upbringings, the chilling methods they used to kill, the psychological forces driving them, the scale of their devastation, how they were finally stopped, and their enduring presence in popular culture. These two men, though united by their brutality, were shaped by vastly different circumstances and motives, reflecting the societal failures of their times. Their stories not only reveal the depths of human depravity, but also challenge us to consider how such monsters emerge and how we can prevent future tragedies. Andrei Chikatilo was born on October 16, 1936, in Yablochna, a small village in Ukraine's Sumy Oblast, during the Soviet Union's devastating famine known as the Holodomor. His family lived in abject poverty, often surviving on grass and leaves, with Chikatilo claiming he didn't taste bread until age 12. His mother, Anna, frequently recounted a chilling, unverified story of his older brother, Stepan, being kidnapped and cannibalized by starving neighbors, a tale that left a lasting mark on his psyche. As a chronic bedwetter, Chikatilo faced regular beatings from his mother, compounding his sense of shame. Bullied at school for his small stature and awkwardness, he retreated into books and Communist Party meetings, becoming an introvert plagued by self-loathing. A humiliating sexual encounter at 15, where he ejaculated prematurely during a struggle with a younger girl, deepened his feelings of inadequacy, later fueling his violent sexual impulses. Despite these challenges, he served in the Soviet Army, worked as a teacher, and married, though his career ended after he was caught molesting students. Andrei Chikatilo, Wikipedia. Alexander Pichushkin, born on April 9, 1974 in Mytishchi, Moscow Oblast, grew up in the turbulent aftermath of the Soviet Union's collapse. His parents' divorce left him without a father, and at age 4, a fall from a swing caused a head injury that likely damaged his frontal cortex, potentially increasing his impulsivity and aggression. Bullied at school, he was transferred to a facility for children with disabilities, further isolating him. His grandfather, recognizing his intelligence, taught him chess, a game at which he excelled, channeling his aggression into competition. The death of his grandfather was a significant blow, triggering increased hostility. Living with his mother, half-sister, her husband, and their son in a cramped apartment, Pichushkin's sense of disconnection grew, setting the stage for his violent urges. Alexander Pichushkin, Wikipedia. Chikatilo's method of killing was chaotic and brutal, driven by sexual sadism. He targeted children, adolescents, and young women, luring them to secluded areas near Rostov's train stations with promises of food, money, or jobs. Once isolated, he stabbed his victims repeatedly, often mutilating their bodies and engaging in cannibalistic acts. The ferocity of his attacks, which included biting and dismemberment, led early investigators to suspect a ritualistic killer. His ability to vary locations and methods helped him evade capture for over a decade, exploiting the Soviet system's inefficiencies. Andrei Chikatilo, Britannica. Pichushkin's approach was more calculated, reflecting his desire for control. Operating in Moscow's Bitsa Park, he targeted vulnerable groups, homeless people, alcoholics, and the elderly, befriending them with offers of vodka to lower their guard. He then bludgeoned them with a hammer, often inserting a vodka bottle into their skull wounds as a signature, symbolizing his dominance. Unlike Chikatilo, Pichushkin left bodies in plain sight, almost daring authorities to catch him, and kept a chessboard to mark his kills, aiming for 64 victims to match the board's squares. Alexander Pichushkin, Academic Block. Chikatilo's psychology was rooted in sexual inadequacy and deep-seated rage. His childhood trauma, abuse, famine, and humiliation fueled a schizoid personality disorder and sadistic tendencies, as noted by Dr. Alexander Pichushkin. Unable to achieve sexual gratification through normal means, he found release in murder, with knives serving as a substitute for his impotence. Each killing was a twisted act of empowerment, compensating for his personal failures. The Butcher of Rostov, a psychobiographical study. Pichushkin's motives centered on power and notoriety. His head injury likely exacerbated his lack of empathy, and his isolation and bullying experiences fed his need for dominance. He described killing as feeling like God, a way to assert control over life and death. Inspired by Chikatilo, whom he idolized, Pichushkin aimed to surpass his predecessor's body count, viewing murder as a game. His chessboard obsession reflected a strategic mind, but his need for recognition made him reckless. Alexander Pichushkin, NY Daily News. Chikatilo killed at least 52 people, confessing to 56, between 1978 and 1990, targeting vulnerable groups and spreading terror across Rostov. His ability to operate undetected for so long exposed the Soviet Union's denial of serial crime and its inadequate investigative systems. Pichushkin killed at least 49 people, claiming 63. From 1992 to 2006, targeting Moscow's marginalized communities. His open defiance and distinctive signatures heightened public fear, revealing post-Soviet societal neglect. Andrei Chikatilo, Wikipedia. Alexander Pichushkin, Wikipedia. Aspect: Andrei Chikatilo, Alexander Pichushkin. Number of victims: 52, confirmed. 56, claimed. 49, confirmed. 63, claimed. Time period: 1978, 1990, 1992, 2006. Primary motive: sexual sadism, overcoming impotence, power, control, and notoriety method. Stabbing, mutilation, cannibalism, hammer attacks, vodka bottle insertions, victim profile, children, young women, runaways, homeless, alcoholics, elderly, societal impact exposed, Soviet denial, spurred forensic reform, highlighted post-Soviet neglect, mental health issues. Chikatilo was apprehended in 1990 after a witness saw him with his final victim. Advances in DNA analysis, though rudimentary, and psychological profiling by Dr. Bukhanovsky linked him to the murders. His critical mistake was continuing to kill despite being under suspicion, driven by uncontrollable impulses. Profile of Andrei Chikatilo. Pichushkin was caught in 2006 when a metro ticket found on victim Marina Moskalyova led police to surveillance footage showing him with her. His arrogance, including leaving clues and boasting about his crimes, hastened his capture. Alexander Pichushkin biography. Chikatilo's case has left a lasting mark on popular culture, inspiring the 1995 film Citizen X, which portrays the Soviet investigation struggles, and numerous documentaries exploring his psychological complexity. Pichushkin's chessboard motif and quest for fame have made him a subject of fascination in true crime media, with podcasts and articles delving into his motives and traumatic background. Both cases highlight the need for improved mental health systems and law enforcement practices, urging society to address the root causes of such violence. Andrei Chikatilo, Wikipedia. The chilling case of the Chessboard Killer. The lives and crimes of Chikatilo and Pichushkin reveal how personal trauma and societal failures can create monsters. Their methods, motives, and impacts reflect the unique challenges of their eras, from Soviet repression to post-Soviet chaos. By understanding these cases, we are compelled to strengthen our systems, law enforcement, mental health, and social support to ensure such horrors are not repeated. Comparative analysis of Andrei Chikatilo and Alexander Pichushkin. Part 3. The stories of Andrei Chikatilo and Alexander Pichushkin are more than chilling accounts of violence. They are stark reminders of the fragility of human society and the systems designed to protect it. Their crimes, though separated by time and context, exposed deep flaws in law enforcement, mental health care, and societal structures. By examining the lessons learned from their cases, their lasting impact on culture and academia, and a direct comparison of their motives and methods, we uncover not only the darkness within these men, but also the steps society must take to prevent such horrors. These lessons challenge us to reflect on how we address the roots of violence and ensure justice prevails. The lessons from Chikatilo's case are rooted in the Soviet Union's systemic failures. The government's refusal to acknowledge serial killers as a phenomenon, believing such crimes were impossible in a communist society, delayed investigations and allowed Chikatilo to kill for over a decade. This ideological blindness teaches us that law enforcement must prioritize evidence over political narratives. Chikatilo also exploited society's most vulnerable, children, young women, and runaways who are often ignored. This highlights the urgent need for social safety nets to protect at-risk groups. A critical forensic error in 1984, when police misidentified Chikatilo's blood type, let him slip through their grasp, underscoring the importance of accurate forensic science. Yet, the eventual use of psychological profiling by Dr. Alexander Pichushkin and relentless surveillance led to his capture in 1990, proving that innovative and persistent investigative techniques can overcome even the most elusive criminals. Pichushkin's case offers equally compelling lessons, shaped by the chaos of post-Soviet Russia. His head injury at age 14, which damaged his frontal cortex, likely fueled his impulsive and aggressive behavior, pointing to the need for early medical and psychological intervention for those with traumatic brain injuries. His experiences of bullying and social isolation worsened his psychological state, suggesting that addressing these issues in schools and communities could prevent violent tendencies from escalating. Pichushkin's increased aggression after his grandfather's death, coupled with heavy alcohol use, highlights how substance abuse can amplify underlying mental health issues, necessitating integrated treatment programs. His arrest in 2006, facilitated by modern tools like surveillance footage and a metro ticket found on a victim, demonstrates the power of advanced investigative techniques in catching serial offenders. Both cases had profound impacts on Russian society. Chikatilo's crimes forced the Soviet Union to confront the reality of serial killing, leading to reforms in forensic science and the adoption of psychological profiling. Pichushkin's case, occurring in a more open media environment, sparked public discussions about mental health and social isolation, urging authorities to address these issues in post-Soviet Russia. Together, these cases emphasize the need for a holistic approach to crime prevention, combining robust law enforcement, accurate forensics, and comprehensive mental health support. The legacies of Chikatilo and Pichushkin extend far beyond their prison cells, shaping popular culture and academic discourse. Chikatilo, known as the Rostov Ripper, has become a fixture in true crime media. The 1995 film Citizen X dramatizes the grueling investigation into his crimes, capturing the Soviet system's resistance to acknowledging serial killers. His case is a staple in criminology, studied for its insights into sexual sadism and the psychological drivers of serial murder. Books and documentaries continue to explore his life, ensuring his name remains synonymous with the horrors of the Soviet era. Pichushkin, the Chessboard Killer, has similarly captivated audiences with his chilling goal of filling a chessboard with 64 victims. Documentaries and articles delve into his quest for notoriety and his idolization of Chikatilo, offering a window into the psyche of a killer driven by power rather than sexual deviance. His case has fueled discussions on the impact of traumatic brain injuries and the role of media in amplifying criminal fame. Comparing Chikatilo and Pichushkin reveals both striking similarities and profound differences. Both were driven by dark impulses, but their motives diverged sharply. Chikatilo's killings were fueled by sexual sadism, a desperate attempt to overcome his impotence and personal failures. Each murder was a twisted act of release, rooted in his psychological torment. Pichushkin, however, sought power and recognition, viewing murder as a game to surpass Chikatilo's body count. His chessboard motif symbolized his need for control and fame. Their methods reflected these motives. Chikatilo's were chaotic and brutal, involving mutilation and cannibalism, while Pichushkin's were calculated, using a hammer and vodka bottles to mark his victims. Chikatilo was more cunning in evading capture, changing locations to confuse investigators, whereas Pichushkin's arrogance led him to leave clues, almost daring the police to catch him. Both targeted vulnerable groups, but Chikatilo focused on children and young women, while Pichushkin preyed on the homeless and alcoholics. Their eras shaped their crimes. Chikatilo thrived in the Soviet Union's repressive denial, while Pichushkin exploited the lawlessness of post-Soviet Russia. Chikatilo was caught through emerging forensic techniques and profiling, while Pichushkin's capture relied on modern surveillance and evidence like a metro ticket. Aspect: Andrei Chikatilo, Alexander Pichushkin. Motivation: sexual sadism, compensating for impotence, power, control, and desire for notoriety. Method: stabbing, mutilation, cannibalism. Hammer attacks, vodka bottle insertion, victim profile. Children, young women, runaways, homeless, alcoholics, elderly. Era: Soviet Union, 1978 to 1990. Post-Soviet Russia, 1992-2006. Capture: forensic science, psychological profiling, surveillance footage, forensic evidence, metro ticket. Psychological profile: schizoid personality, sexual deviance, antisocial personality, need for dominance. The stories of Chikatilo and Pichushkin are haunting reminders of what happens when individual pathology meets societal neglect. Their crimes exposed the weaknesses of their times, Soviet denial and post-Soviet chaos, and forced changes that continue to shape Russia's approach to crime. By studying their cases, we learn the importance of vigilance, empathy, and innovation in preventing such tragedies. Their legacies, etched in media and memory, challenge us to build a society where the vulnerable are protected, mental health is prioritized, and justice is swift. As we reflect on these dark chapters, we are called to create a world where such monsters cannot thrive. The tales of Andrei Chikatilo and Alexander Pichushkin reveal not just the horrors of their actions, but the failures of the systems around them. Chikatilo's sadistic rampage and Pichushkin's quest for dominance expose gaps in mental health care and law enforcement that we must address. Their legacies challenge us to build a safer society. If this journey into darkness gripped you, please like this video and subscribe to Red Dossier for more true crime stories. And here's a question to spark debate. Can early intervention prevent serial killers, or are some minds beyond saving? Share your thoughts in the comments below.